Good morning, traders, and this is your DAX day trade setup for today. So this is pretty much the only index I'll be trading today if there is anything on offer. And there's a bit of price action tips that I want to give you towards the end of the video when we finish the analysis, so stay tuned for that. So firstly, we have had a pretty solid day, and the interesting part was that was done all on its own. So the DAX did it by itself. Second move was from the US side, and it actually maintained its gains as well, whereas the US sort of fell off going into their public holidays. If we look at the 3 hour, you can see what I mean. This first 3 hour bar, that was Europe session, with some really good positive news coming out of Europe, and then a little bit of a pullback waiting for the US jobs number, and then we're accelerated, and then just a little bit of profit taking at the end. So key here is this area here, which we haven't quite got through, which is 12,600. Yesterday we did point out 12,600 as an option, and we've tagged it fairly well. So trend has changed at the moment, but remember it was fairly volatile here. The thing is that this rounding bottom here could very well be signs of something stronger coming. Okay, so if we just start drilling down through the time frames, obviously I'm looking to buy. We're first going to watch what happens in this area here, because you may just open flat, get up here, come back and test this area of 12,600 and start making higher lows. That's my cue to get in long. Alternatively, we're going to be moving back down to find support on one of these other levels, and one of these other levels, that's one of them. And there's another level right there. Okay, so right now this is pretty strong for a move up. So I'm looking for a break and retest of 12,600 to get long, and alternatively I'm looking for a retest at 12,474. Worst case scenario would be 12,418. I'm still looking to buy. I'm not looking to buy right here unless we get a breakthrough and a retest. If this rejection carries on, then wait for the pullback. And bear in mind, we've also got a gap. And I think by the looks of things, that gap is at a Fibonacci level. Is it? It is too. So it is at the 61.8 right over there. So that is technically another area. So you could get a pullback down to 12,300 as well. Okay, so just bear in mind what I'd be doing is trading off of the 15-minute on this, watching what price does at the different levels. Okay, so you can see here with a breakthrough, pullback, breakthrough, then sort of a rejection of it again, and then acceleration. We never got back down to this area, never got back to any of these tails. But on the much lower time frames, you would have seen sort of price action interacting with itself. What I mean by that is makes a level here by itself on the 5-minute, pops up, and then your entry is basically on the break of that bar there. And you can see the same thing happened here. I came back to test this area, another entry. Came back to test this fractional area here, a little pin bar, another entry. Okay, so anyway, that's it. What I wanted to show you, so that's pretty much my view at the moment, is looking for longs, but looking for the pullback or the breakout here for those longs. Okay, just be wary of this 12,600. It's a fairly significant level. Okay, now what I basically want to point out here is a bit of price action here. So I just want to get rid of the noise, and we're going to block this out so you can see what I'm talking about. So right over there. You can see we had the strong move down, and I can't, let me just get this here. Let's see if this works here. If I remember correctly, it's F. No. Okay, never mind. So essentially what happened here, you can see we've got this range. Okay. Now, a lot of times when you see that, you need to ignore what's on the right here. Your first train of thought is it's first move down, it's ranging, second move down. Okay. But the importance of the higher time frame is critical. So you can see here you'd made higher lows. Okay, so you've got this massive pullback here into an area. There's definitely an area of support right here. Okay, a pretty messy area of support, but it is there nevertheless. And often what happens is price does this. Now, normally when you look at this, you think, okay, there will be a second move because it typically tags this tags a level. Didn't tag a level in this case and started breaking up. So one of the ways when you see this kind of price action that is just short of a level, you can see it's just short of the level, what you want to be doing is having your entry just above here with your stop below, not below the tails, but below here. Okay, so this level here, which was, what was this level? 12062. Having your stop just here and your entry just above there. Now, there's a couple of things that highlight this. First thing is the deviation from the moving average. You can see the moving average is a gentle slope, and this is a violent push down. Okay, what's basically transpiring here, you can see you're making these higher lows here. But there are people and algorithms that are sitting short on the top of the range because they see this as a range. They're sitting short because they're anticipating this move down, and their stops are just above here. And that's what accelerates this move back to the upside. Okay, now if you look at that price action on the 1 hour, you have a pin bar. So whenever you see a pin bar like that, your entry is at the break of the top tail of the pin bar, or the highest point of that pin bar, and your stop is below it. Okay, so that's on the hour. Look at the deviation. You were moving up, we were moving up. Then all of a sudden we have this massive spike to the downside. Okay, just basically triggering stops, because you'll have people that would have stops who would have been trading this channel, and they'd have their stops below the channel here. So that's pretty much what happened here. And then the bulls are waiting at the bottom, and look at the trade that they got out of that. Okay, if we break that down to the 5 minute now, you'll see something completely different. So you'll see a potential double bottom here. There, we've got a pin bar. So we've got an inside bar, we've got a pin bar, we've got an inside bar, and higher lows. 3 higher lows. So there've been 3 attempts to get to here, which has failed. Okay, again, entry is on the break of those fractals. So you can put a limit order in there with your stop there, because normally what happens is these things are violent. Okay, and again, look at the deviation from the moving average. Moving average is quite gently sloped, and look how deeply we move away from it. So the deviation is this area here. If you're familiar with the Bull-Williams theory, whenever you see a pin bar deviating from the alligator, that is the wise man 1 entry. Its concept is exactly the same across many things. So pretty much any strategy that you've got, price action is key. And you can see here, there's pin bars. You look there, we have an engulfing bar, an inside bar, an engulfing bar. Okay, if I look at the half hour, you'll see a tweezer bottom. Okay, you can see 2 pin bars, which is a tweezer bottom off a level. Okay, so these kind of things, and you can see the deviation from the moving average as well. So the point is, what I'm making is, don't get suckered into seeing this move like this and say, oh, this thing's falling to the floor, I'm getting in on this. Because that's exactly what the algorithms are trying to get you to do. They're trying to get you to basically get in and try and ride this thing to the bottom. And then they just start accumulating their position here, waiting until they get price to start triggering stop losses, which will be up here, and then they accelerate up. Okay, so that's just a bit of price action there. And I think if we look at the 3 hour, no, there wouldn't have been anything on the 3 hour or the 4 hour on that. No. Okay, so I suppose we could even drill it down to the 3 minutes if you really wanted to. You'd have the same kind of setup there. Higher lows, inverse head and shoulders, well, kind of, not quite, because that one's lower than that. More of a flat top triangle. So there's so many different scenarios here, flat top triangle, price action, everything. I think the point that I'm getting at really is, whenever you see deviation from a moving average, look for the next level, and especially when it is as quick and as steep as this was here. Don't look for opportunities to get in to ride this trend down. If you're not in it, wait for the opportunity to buy, because it will come, especially when you were in an uptrend. Okay, and that's another reason why you're always buying and going with the trend, even if you have broken a trend line, and that's what happened here as well. So there's the trend line there. Okay, there's the trend line. We've broken the trend line. So most people say, oh, we're short now because we've broken the trend line. No, your short entry is there, and that didn't really play out, as you can see. So you break the trend line, you're still going with the trend until you get this retest here. So that would have typically been your first target. It's just the retest of that trend line. And you can see it sold off inside bar, got back onto the moving average, and then hugging the moving average here. So that's just basically we're moving back up. Okay, here we go. So I just thought bit of price action there, which we don't often see. And it's something to just bear in mind when you see that kind of thing. Okay. And do it with a limit order. Don't try and just jump in, because sometimes it does move a second leg down. Okay. Sometimes it is something that's driving it down. But often when you see this kind of stuff, you're looking for a break below for a short, and you're looking for a break above. And in this case, you wouldn't have taken the break below short because you were right at a major level. So it would have been pointless, because you guaranteed buyers would have been waiting here as well at 12.062. Okay, anyway, guys, that's enough rambling for me. I hope you enjoy the weekend, and we will catch you guys later. Cheers for now.